welcome to you all of a day of showing off. Thanks for coming in such wonderful numbers. As Philip said, David Willits will be along later on, so we'll look forward to greeting him then. It's an event, I very much hope, which will suit all tastes, as well as displaying in one place a representative group of projects which the AHRC has funded, often in partnership, across the creative economy. It's also, I think, not just about the HRC's work. It's also an opportunity to celebrate something which I think is constitutive of the creative economy, which is about partnership and collaboration. And you're a gregarious lot, and you've turned out in great numbers, and I think that is quite typical of the way that the creative economy tends to operate these days. So thank you very much for coming, and I hope you very much enjoy the day. We all know we've got a very exceptionally strong creative economy in the UK today, that it's the fastest growing sector within the UK economy, that it generates a very large slice of GDP, some say as much as 9%. That's around the equivalent of the sort of revenue that Big Pharma generates, for example, and other sectors like pharma and automotive, which are often much more noisily trumpeted in relation to the UK's long-term economic future. And I do think it's really important that we think about the creative economy as a muscular strength, as something which is going to develop much more strongly in the years to come, and on which we've got a very formidable base to build. What else do we know about it? Well, we know from the HRC-funded project, the Brighton Fuse, and there'll be an opportunity for you to learn a little more about this later on, that growth in both employment and in turnover is in mouth-wateringly enticing double-digit figures. That's a very localized hot spot, but we'll try and extend that work much more widely to discover whether that's typical. We'll be thinking about the dynamics which have been revealed by a project like the Brighton Fuse, which also reveal the potential and which need understanding, because we're dealing not just with a very considerable and very vibrant phenomenon, we're also dealing with really quite a new one. Now, I hope you'll get a sense of this as the day goes by. It's a sector of enormous diversity, and we've got music, we've got games, we've got broadcasting, we've got archives, visual art, design, as you'll hear in a moment, etc., etc. It's a real eclectic group of different things whose synergies with each other are extremely promising and extremely important as the things themselves almost. There's even, if you care to peep into it, a hologram of me around there, which is, I have to say, a rather odd experience of seeing yourself in digital space, looking about that big. But do go and see that. It's an introduction put together by the University of Lancaster Hub, which is also going to showcase all of the 4 creative economy hubs. There's a kind of existential quality about watching a hologram. You kind of don't know whether you're real or you're not real, and it's a rather curious moment. Now, what sustains and enhances all of this new endeavour, all of this rather electric dynamic development, is the UK's enviable cultural and institutional infrastructure. So the creative economy, to my mind, is built upon really rather well-established foundations of museums, galleries, libraries, universities, and so on. And it's the marriage of those sorts of institutions with the new sorts of institutions which is lending a good deal of the quickening excitement around this kind of thing. And I do think a lot of the energy is coming from those public-private intersections at the moment. And again, I hope that's something you'll pick up and become more richly aware of as the day goes by. But we also know there are challenges for the creative economy at the moment. The digital revolution's collision with established IP and copyright regimes is a serious challenge, and the HRC Centre for Copyright Create, based in Glasgow. Again, there'll be an opportunity to learn about this later on. That is studying that phenomenon, which is still very far from being established. There are challenges also about the way research, often based in very large institutions, universities and so on, how that research communicates with small businesses. I think there's a real challenge for us all to think about that, and the hubs in their very different ways are discovering both that problem and also some creative opportunities to overcome it. And again, as the Fuse project has revealed, there are challenges around skills, and those skills are mainly in two groups. They're about entrepreneurial skills of lively, young, very talented people emerging into this world, but there are also skills around interdisciplinary communication and interdisciplinary endeavour, and the marriage, the very rich potential between humanities content, as it were, and technological platforms. And how we try and enable that, I think, is a challenge for the future. Now, collectively, we are some distance from meeting those sorts of challenges. But as the HRC starts to think about what its next steps will be in its support of the creative economy and research's relationship with it, those will be at the front of our minds. So what you have here today is, I think, reflecting the excitement there is in a lot of this endeavour. There's a lot of energy around this kind of thing. And the HRC, as you know, supports a very considerable range of different things. And I'll just emphasise a few of those at the moment, though it's far from the entire portfolio. There are the four hubs for knowledge exchange in the creative economy, based in Lancaster, the west of England, London and Dundee. And you'll be hearing from some of those from this platform, and then again around the hall. So do try and catch up with their work. There is the Create Centre, looking at IP and copyright, which is clearly cutting across all these sorts of endeavours. There is the investigative projects like the Brighton Fuse I mentioned, but also the Cultural Value Project, which is a far-reaching attempt to try and look at the ways in which the cultural system in Britain and the cultural economy is sustained, and also look at ways in which it can be understood and recognised in its most appropriate form by people in government. And there is a challenge there about how we articulate our own case and how we describe our own endeavours collectively as well as separately. And then finally, there is a large-scale project run in collaboration with, in England, the Arts Council England and Nesta, and in Wales and Scotland with Nesta and the relevant arts councils there, which is looking at digital research and development projects, often of a very adventurous kind. And you are, of course, scattering a great deal of seed at this stage and hoping that some of it will grow. We'll be, in the next phase with the HRC, looking to try and develop some of these projects, not just here in the UK, but also internationally. And I think I'd like to offer a very special welcome to our visitors from Shanghai who are here today. And I hope you enjoy very much the day, as we will all do. So, to return to the theme, finally, with which I began, this is, and we're proud of it, this is a celebration of what the HRC has done. We are very proud of it. But it's also, I think, a celebration of partnership and of collaboration. And that, I think, is the animating spirit around the group of people who are here today. It's about trying to work together, learn from each other, and develop common projects. And I hope a good deal of that, as well as a good deal of enjoyment, occurs today. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for listening. And we now...